We have seen that the Bhatto-Mimamsa philosophers have criticized the Prabhakara-Mimamsakas on the ground that the Prabhakara-Mimamsakas cannot explain a very important feature of a natural language, namely, every competent speaker of a natural language has the ability to understand and to generate an infinite number of new sentences on the basis of her prior knowledge of the meanings of a finite number of words and a finite set of rules. This feature of a natural language is recognized by the philosophers of our times also as one of the key features of any natural language, and any philosopher of language must give a satisfactory account of this feature. Nowadays, this feature is called the compositionality principle. The compositionality principle is very clearly stated by Donald Davidson in his article Truth and Meaning. Donald Davidson writes, "It is conceded by most philosophers of language and recently by some linguists that a satisfactory theory of meaning must give an account of how the meanings of sentences depend upon the meanings of words. Unless such an account could be supplied for a particular language, it is argued there would be no explaining the fact that we can learn the language, no explaining the fact that on mastering a finite vocabulary and a finitely stated set of rules, we are prepared to produce and to understand any of a potential infinitude of sentences." Donald Davidson, Truth and Meaning, in Inquiries into Truth and Interpretation, Oxford University Press, 1984. Thus, the Bhatto-Mimamsakas use this compositionality principle as an argument against the Prabhakara-Mimamsakas. The Bhatto-Mimamsakas further argue that if the Prabhakara theory of sentence meaning is accepted, then our understanding of any natural language would be anomalous and incorrect. For instance, suppose a child learns the meaning of the term cow on encountering a sentence, "Bring the cow." Suppose that a competent user of the language, of the English language, utters the sentence, "Bring the cow." And on hearing this sentence, another competent user of the English language takes recourse to a certain action with respect to a particular animal. A child who does not know the meaning of the term cow or the meaning of the verb bring listens to this sentence uttered by the first competent speaker and then also observes the action performed by the second competent speaker. On hearing this sentence and on observing this action, the child comes to understand the meaning of the term cow. But if the Prabhakara theory of sentence meaning is correct, then we must say that the child understands the meaning of the term cow as connected with the meanings of all other expressions constituting the sentence bring the cow. In that case, the child understands the meaning of the term cow as an animal which is related to a particular action, namely the action of bringing. But suppose that the child encounters the term cow on some subsequent occasion in the context of a different sentence. Say the child encounters or hears the sentence, take the cow. Now if the child now understands by the term cow an animal which is related to the act of bringing, then obviously the child's understanding of the new sentence, namely take the cow, would be anomalous or incorrect. Then anyone would say that the child has not properly learned the meaning of the term cow, and he also not been able to learn the use of the term cow. So if the meaning of a term is always understood as connected with the meanings of other constituent expressions of a sentence, then our understanding of language would be incorrect and anomalous. Besides, the Bhattamimamsakas have argued that if the meaning of a term is always understood as connected with the meanings of other constituent expressions of a sentence, then we shall not be able to determine the meaning of any term in isolation from the meanings of other terms. But it is necessary to understand the meaning of a word in isolation from the meanings of other words belonging to that language. The grammar of every natural language classifies the expressions of that language into various categories such as noun, adjective, adverb, pronoun, verb, and so on. Now if a person cannot understand the meaning of a word or an expression in isolation from the meanings of all other expressions, then it will not be possible for that person to categorize or to classify the words belonging to a particular language. Classifications of this kind are possible only if a person understands the meaning of every word in isolation from the meanings of all other words belonging to that language. So, the Prabhakara theory of meaning can be accepted only if the Prabhakara philosophers can answer satisfactorily all these objections raised by the Bhattamimamsakas.